Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to learn class 10 English chapter what is moral actions, question and answers, and this is part 1 of the question and answer session. The explanation of this chapter is already uploaded in my previous video. I'll be sharing the link in the description box for you all to refer it. So let's move on to the question and answers today and let us discuss it. But before that, students, if you are viewing my video for the first time, do subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get the notifications of my all the upcoming videos. And do watch the video till end. And if you like it, hit the like button and share with your friends. So, students, we'll move on to the question and answers of this chapter. So, the very first thing we have comprehension questions in your textbook. Under that, answer the following questions briefly. So first question goes like this. It's a multiple choice question. You have to choose the correct option as your answer. Okay. So first one, in paragraph 1, Gandhiji says that our conventional behavior is immoral, moral, neither moral nor immoral, necessary or unnecessary. So answer is D, necessary. Okay, because when we read in the first paragraph in the chapter, we come to know that Gandhiji says that conventional behavior is necessary in the life. So with that point of view, we can mark the answer as necessary. D, necessary is the answer for this question. Moving to the next one. What is non-moral action? So answer is the actions which are done with the motive of winning prestige are non-moral actions. Non-moral actions are the actions which do not have any morality. Okay, so when we read the chapter, we come to know there are many actions of the human which we do. Some do out of show off, some do with the real heart, some do to win the prestige. So, according to the chapter, the actions which are done just to show off or to just to win the prestige are non-moral actions. So this is what the lesson teaches us. We should not do the non-moral act. We should be doing actions which are having morality in it, which has moral values in it. Okay. So this is how you will write your answer. Moving on to the next one. What is the difference between a mechanical act and an intentional act? So the answer is the act which is done without thinking is called a mechanical act. On the other hand, the act which is done by thinking what is good or bad is called intentional act. Okay, so when we do some act without thinking because somebody has said us to do and we blindly do it without thinking or without giving a second thought, then it is called mechanical act. Because just as a machine, you start working once somebody said to you, so it is known as mechanical act. Okay, on the other hand, when you think about it, like whether it is a good or bad to do, you have an intention. Yes, I will do this because it's good for me or good for others. So it becomes an intention there your intention is being used. You think, and with a good intention or a bad intention, whatever it may be, you work out, you do that action. So it becomes an intentional act. So this is the major difference. When you act without thinking, it is a mechanical act, and when you think and decide what is good or bad and then perform some action, that it is known as intentional act. Okay, students, moving on to the next question. Give an example each for conventional behavior and a moral act. Okay, so this is a question. Again, we have to give an example. So there are many number of examples given in the chapter, so you can write any of it. So here, conventional behavior is something which is traditionally or which is followed as a rule. Okay, so let us see the answer. Greeting everyone in the morning as a formality or as a part of the duty is a conventional behavior. It will become a moral act if a person greets with the intention of brightening the lives of the people. So, very nicely here, the author had said that greeting everyone in the morning just because it's a formality, you are doing a formality because it's a duty and it's a part of your duty. When you go in, you have to greet and then go. You have to greet everybody. So, if you're doing with that intention, it just becomes a conventional behavior, just a traditional custom or rule, something which you're following. But the same thing will become a moral act when you greet people with the intention of brightening the lives of the people. When you feel that, oh, if I wish this person, they will be happy, it will brighten their life, they will have a smile on the face. If you are wishing with that intention, then it becomes a moral act. Okay, so this is an example given for conventional behavior and a moral act in your chapter. So this in this similar manner you have many more examples. You can write it accordingly. Okay, this is one of the simplest example which I have voted for you. Next one, moving to the next question. The first paragraph discusses what is not a model action. The second paragraph gives one important criterion to decide what constitutes a moral action. What is the criterion? Okay, so we have first paragraph where we have learnt about moral action in the chapter, and second paragraph we have one criteria to decide like what constitutes or what makes a moral action. So, what is that criteria? What is that rule that we have to mention as an answer here? Okay. So, answer is a moral act must be our own, must spring from our own will. If we act mechanically, there is no moral action. Such action would be moral if we think it proper to act like a machine and do so. We use our discrimination. This is the criterion. Okay, so here the author says that the moral act must be our own. It should be our own will. It should spring out from inside. You should feel, yes, I will do this work or this act in order to help, or what some satisfaction you are going to get with that. And if we act this mechanically, if somebody has ordered us, so that is not a moral action. It can be moral action if you think it properly and your intention is to do something good to that person, though you are working on the order of the boss, or you are working, or your act is like a machine, but you had a second thought on that, and you know now is it good or bad, and then you are working, then it becomes a moral act, because we are using our discrimination there, whether it is good or bad. Your intention is known there. If it's a good intention, it is really going to become a moral act. So, this is the criterion which is mentioned in the second paragraph of your chapter. Okay, students. Now, let's move on to the next question. When can the messenger's act become a moral action? So, this is a question. This is an example from your chapter. The messenger's act, when will it become a moral action? So, answer is if the messenger follows the king's order, considering it to be his duty, his action would be a moral one. Okay, so here we see that if messenger is following the king's order, just not because he has ordered him to do, because just not because the king has ordered, but he knows that it is his duty, and if he does his duty properly, he will be satisfied, the king will be satisfied, people will be happy, they will be benefited by the duty. So that time his action will become a moral one. If he's just unwillingly following the orders of the king, then it will not be a moral action. He knows, he thinks that, yes, this is my duty and I have to do this to make my king happy and others happy. So then at that time, his action will become a moral one. Okay. So moving on to the next question now. Seventh one. When, according to Gandhi, can we regard ourselves to have stepped onto the moral road? Okay, so according to Gandhiji, what does he say? That when can we regard ourselves that we have stepped onto a moral road, the right path? So the answer is when we all care only for what our conscience says, then alone can we be regarded to have stepped onto the moral road. Okay, when we care about our conscience, means our inner feelings, we have. we have that knowledge of distinguishing what is good and what is bad, that inner feeling which you says you, yes, this is good and this is bad, and then you select the good one, and that alone at that time you can regard that yes, you have stepped onto the moral road, you're on the right path. This is what the saying or the teaching which according to Gandhiji is mentioned in this chapter. Okay. Next, what is the belief that Gandhi talk of in paragraph 2? What is the belief that is Gandhiji is talking about in the chapter in paragraph 2? Answer is, the belief that Gandhiji talks of is God within us. The God of all is the ever present witness to all our acts. Okay, so what is Gandhiji saying? He talks of the belief that you should have a belief that there's a God within us, God of all, and He's ever present and He witnesses to all our acts. Whatever we do, all our acts is known by the God. He is a witness. He sees it. He knows it. He knows your intention. So you should always have a good intention. This belief should be there. When you have this belief in your heart, in your heart and mind, and then you are going to do all good deeds. You can do all the moral acts. Okay. So this is what the belief that Gandhiji talks about in paragraph 2. Moving on to the next question. All good actions need not be moral acts. When does a good action become a moral act? According to paragraph 3, give an example. Okay, so you have to mention when will your act become moral or good action become moral. According to paragraph 3, there is an example given in paragraph 3. You have to mention that. So answer is, it is not enough that an act done by us is in itself good. It should have been done with the intention to good. Okay, feeding poor people is an example of a good action, but it becomes moral act when the person feeds the poor out of pity. Okay, so this is what the example given in paragraph 3, that only doing some action which is just a good action, people will see and they'll feel yes, it is good act. And if you think that it becomes a good moral action, then it's not like that. Your intention should also be good there. The intention behind your act should be good, and then it becomes a good or moral act. Not all good acts will be moral, but if you have good intention and real from heart, if you are working, then it becomes good, then it becomes a moral act. For example, feeding poor. See, there are many people who feed poor, but some feed poor because they really feel pity on them and they want to really help them, so it becomes a moral act. But if someone comes and just help or feeds the poor because he wants to make his prestige, he wants to make his status in the society, then it is not a moral act. Though it may be a good act, but it's not a moral act. When you feed from your heart, out of pity from your real heart, then it becomes a moral act. So this is what the example mentioned in your paragraph 3. I hope you all are getting it, students. Moving on to the next question. In the example of feeding the poor, whose action is a moral action? So the answer is, a man who feeds the poor out of great pity is the act of moral action. Okay, again related to the previous question, the man who feeds the poor out of great pity and it's real from his heart, then that act becomes moral action. If he's just doing for status and show off and for the prestige, then it will not be a moral action. Okay. Moving on to the last question of this video. The result of our action determines whether our action is moral or non-moral. Say whether the statement is true or false. So answer is false. Okay. Why? Because just your action, we cannot, through your action, we cannot say or judge that whether it is moral action or non-moral action, because we do not know the intention behind that. Until and unless your intention is good, you are doing it from heart, it will not be your moral act. Even though if it's your action is, even though your action is good, it will not be a moral act until and unless your intention is good. So that is why we cannot judge the action. From the action we cannot judge and say that it's moral or non-moral. So the answer is false. Okay, students, so we'll stop here with the question answer session. We'll be coming back soon with the second part of this question answer session. I hope it's clear with this many questions. And if the video was good and you liked it, it was informative, do hit the like button and share with your friends. We'll be back soon with the next part of the question answers. Till then, bye bye and thank you.